Hey everyone, welcome back to This Week in Tarkov, the show where we tell you everything that happened in Tarkov the last week. Today we're going to go over how we got another lore event from BSG through Twitter, a really cool clip from Nikita that's showing some stuff in the future that's on its way, a ton of changes to carry limits and what you can hold on your character in raid, and we'll touch on the change to the Flea Market tax rate again, just kind of expand, give a couple of tips, talk about what it is. We got a little video clip, we'll talk about that in a sec, but long story short, what it did is it made raiders spawn on Lighthouse. Now they will spawn anywhere that scavs can spawn, it looks like, or at least that scavs used to be able to spawn. So that's everywhere from the broken house over by Lighthouse, all the way along the road, the chalets, the sunken village, even the little warehouse container district behind the water treatment plant, or past it, however you want to look at it, where the train to reserve shows up. Now, as of right now, rogues and raiders don't engage with each other. They happily coexist. Nobody shoots at each other. But that could change. That could be something BSG plays around with going forward. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. Now, the last rogue event went past the weekend. It went into, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday. So this might not end on Sunday night or Monday morning. This might go on for a couple of days. So just keep that in mind. But let's talk about the video from BSG real quick. It's like a body cam footage kind of thing, if you want, of rogues. It says, it starts off with the radio traffic. Sekash, this is Mangust. Hurry up. Don't take too long. We are both on point. Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on you, Sekash. And then in the video, it shows him writing a note, right? Or he picks up a note. And the note that he picks up says, Scav named Ginger has your mobile phone. He wants to sell it to rogues on Lighthouse. We can try to intercept him before he arrived. Chepshule. Well, Sekash writes, understood, we are setting off. Then the radio picks up again and says, Sekash, we have content. The battle started at, and you hear gunshots, and that's it. So, Chepshule, supposedly Rigi's buddy, is in cahoots with the raiders, it looks like. And we know this because Sketch and Mangust are their actual in-game raider names, plus the phone that he's talking about, we know Rigi stole from the raiders. Now, this would explain a lot of Rigi's bad luck through these last couple of months of story that we've had with him, that his close confidant and his buddy Chepshule, Cheppy, we'll just call him Cheppy, he apparently is in cahoots with the raiders. And it might not be it. Who knows who else he's willing to feed information to. Now, going with this, we see raiders on Lighthouse. That means they're obviously trying to cut him off and prevent him from being able to get to the rogues. So does this mean that the rogues and raiders are going to have conflict with one another? I think it's possible. I think it also kind of indicates that the raiders don't actually care about how strong or powerful the rogues or the Lightkeeper are, because we know the rogues and the Lightkeeper are in cahoots with, or at least they're working with one another. They don't care. You know, this guy's powerful enough to scare all the traders off and do all that stuff, but the raiders are more interested in that phone than they are staying on the good side of the Lightkeeper or the rogues. So I think we're going to get some pretty interesting stuff in the next step of this, where this is headed. It doesn't look like it's headed into a calmer direction. Now, in the next one, we have this clip from Nikita. It's kind of a in-game maintenance. I don't know. It's not in the real game world. It's a clip of a PMC running, doing a couple of different actions, and it's actually really interesting. Obviously, the first one is where he's changing the folding stock of the option of the gun, and it changes actually how he's running, the way his character model is. There's a lot of detail there, and that could possibly mean all sorts of different things, from run speed changes to other stuff. But I think it shows that the folding of stocks might be more important, because right now you can't fold a stock while you're running or unfold it while you're running. You have to stop, you have to unfold it, all this other stuff. So we're going to get more complex animations that can be done at the same time. You also notice while he's running that the backpack is kind of swaying around and the gear is moving kind of independent of the character. Right now, the way Tarkov is, everything's just kind of, what do you want to say, glued to him, and it operates in this different physics realm than the world around it. It just is kind of there. So with this, you know, you're going to get this cleaner looking, more advanced movement, more realistic looking movement from your characters. And with that, you see that as he's running. The running is much smoother looking than it is in the game right now. Less ice skating, kind of just more natural looking, which some of the issues of that are network side, I get it, but the game itself isn't perfectly set up to show movement right now. And with this, not just myself, but I've heard a lot of other people talking about it too, they think this is kind of indicating more advanced movement being on the way, whereas Nikita has talked about things like vaulting, climbing, you know, going up ladders, all that kind of stuff. They want it in the game, and they've got the animations worked on. There's just some other hurdles they've got to get over to get to it, but I think this is an indication of that. Nikita talks about a ton of things in passing almost when he's talking on podcasts and stuff. We'll get a quick blurb about advanced movement, overhauling all of the animations in the game, working on textures, all sorts of stuff like that. And it just kind of comes and goes and nobody even thinks about it. And we definitely don't see the progress of it. This clip, while it might seem simple or unimportant, it kind of shows the fruits of all that labor, or at least the start of it. Now, after this, we got to change from BSG, changing the carry limits. Like you could only have 3 Bitcoins or 4 graphics cards or whatever the limits were. They made a huge change the other direction for the first time. They're increasing the limits. Now, they did this in everything from key cards and keys to military tech, graphics cards, Bitcoins, even money. They increased money from 280,000 rubles to 400,000 rubles. And this has to be a product of not being able to throw things down for RMT anymore. So me personally, it's never been an issue. I've never run into where I can't pick up 4 graphics cards. I've never been that lucky, but I know some people have. So keep in mind that now your caps are getting raised as a result of this RMT battle BSG is in the middle of right now. Now, the last thing we'll talk about is the flea market tax. Everybody's pretty much aware of it now. I'm sure just about everybody's lost money on a sale at least one point because they didn't see what the fee was going to be. I just wanted to remind everybody that this is a logarithmic scale. So the further away you get from the sale price of that something sells from a vendor, essentially, the higher and faster that's going to accelerate. It's not linear. It doesn't just go by, if you double the price, it's double the cost of the fee. Once you get into that 3-4 times the cost, you really start to see these huge ramp ups in the flea market fee. And with this, it just emphasizes that much more how important Intel Center Level 3 is because of that flea market commission reduction. And then as you level up your hideout management, it gets even higher. It's base 30. I have max hideout management, which makes my flea market commission negative 45%. And that's a ton of money now, especially with the way the flea market fee is calculated. Now, there's a couple of tools out there, but one of the ones I use the most just because I'm on the site a lot is Tarkov Market, and it's free. You don't have to be behind the paywall to get it. He has a little fee calculator here that shows up on any item where you can type it in, and it's going to show you what that fee cost is going to be and how much profit you make. So like on the Hawk right now, 48,000, if you don't have a Intel Center, you're getting 34,000 profit when you sell it. But if you sell it for 75,000, your fee's 23,000, you're making 51. So you can go through and check some of these items before you list stuff. You don't necessarily have to have it. You can see it for yourself a little bit quicker than you can do through the in-game interface. And the primary impact on this is around really high value items. Things like graphics cards or let's say key cards that you get from labs. Those are hugely impacted. Melee weapon, the rare melee weapons, things like that. That's where you really got to pay attention to what you're selling from. And your max profits are not going to be but a couple of million rubles now. You're not going to be able to make 40 million rubles on a key card anymore. So just make sure when you sell something, especially if it's a high ticket item, you double check that flea market fee. Otherwise, you'll end up listing for something for 100,000 rubles and it'll cost you 250,000 in the fee, which is that sucks. Now, lastly, talking about the channel here, we've dialed back the Today in Tarkovs a little bit, mostly because I've been sick. You haven't seen it. We edited out probably a dozen times where I have a coughing fit. I can barely stay in front of the camera. Trying to get a cold licked. I'm fine. Don't worry about me, but it makes it hard to shoot films. So we've kind of dialed it back. As soon as I get better, we'll ramp back up. We'll get back into doing Today's in Tarkovs. But for now, we'll stick with these weekly updates for you guys. But as always, thank you guys for watching and supporting the content. I wish you the best of luck in your raids, and we'll see you in Tarkov.